Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. How is everyone doing? This is episode 143. Only 7 episodes left in season 3. So this should bring us right to the end of the year, which is kind of cool. I don't plan it that way, but then when I went off and looked at it today, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. It'll take us right to the end of the year, and we can start out the new year with season 4. Let the holiday rush begin. Right? It's this crazy time of year. To me, it's like Thanksgiving is the 2-minute warning in the game, right? Um, and the last month from the end of Thanksgiving to New Year's is like that little month and a week or week and a half is like it's on steroids, right? With the holidays, the end of the year, everything's the end of the year parties. And, if you have a business, it's like this big rush to the end of the year. Fantasy football, right? It's that final push to get into the playoffs. The NFL is the final push to get into playoffs, right? The days are short and cold. It's like so many things are going, just this big push all the way to the end. Um, and if you're like me, you're already planning for the new hobby year. Like I plan everything for next year, but this since I've jumped back into the hobby, it's one of those things where I feel the more I look ahead and the more planning I do, the better things turn out for me. Um, I know, you know, when I first jumped back in and prices were up, you didn't have to do much planning. It just seemed like, anyone could do this. And then I started to realize the more planning I did, the better I could do. And then, the hobby landscape started to shift a little bit. Comps were coming down, things were different. Um, I made some mistakes and I learned from those mistakes. And again, the more you plan, the better things happen. And that's what happens with me. Um, so now I have to start not only with what product I'm selling, but what shows am I doing, reserving tables, making travel plans, and then ultimately what cards am I selling? How am I going to sell these cards? Where am I acquiring them from? And the different sports and the different seasons, just making sure, I planned ahead, and I talked about this. I planned ahead with hockey, and I was sending hockey cards out to grading, and now they're just coming back now, which is too late for me. They should have come back earlier. So again, next year I may even be trying to send, if I'm grading that, I may even be trying to send earlier. I'm going to talk a little bit later about grading and from what I learned just from that experience. What's going on out there, with the hobby itself, because we know it's a new year. Next year will be another new year, right? But what's going on out there with it? Like, has it changed that much from last year? So thinking about this and thinking about this episode, I went back a year ago to see what my end of November episodes were last year, 1 year ago. So episode 43, have football cards hit bottom, and episode 44, is the hobby alive and well, right? It sounds a lot like what's going on now, right? It's crazy how 1 year later I could be doing the same topics, same episode topics, because we've seen the decline, in mostly all the comps. Like everything is down, but it went down last year. I'm not sure how much it rebounded, but now it's gone down again, right? So again, the same episodes that I did last year, they could be the same episodes. I could literally go back and pick these same topics and talk about the same thing again. Um, and just like last year, right? Comps are down. Cards are being left in cases with higher price tags on them, or just being taken out. And not complaining about that, I do the same thing. If I have a card that I say, wow, this comp is so low, am I willing to sell that card at that price? If I'm not, I might as well just take it out. I might as well just take it out of the case, because if I leave it in the case and I put a much higher price tag on it, then I have to explain to everybody, or everybody knows, I'm into this card for a higher price, or I'm not going to sell it at a lower price. So it's just easier for me just to leave it home, right? Or leave it in my Zion case. Don't drop it into the showcase, and have to, you know have those conversations, because it's just a waste to me. Those conversations are a waste. Um, we're all hoping, right? We're all hoping those cards will rebound, but that's what we did last year too, right? There were cards that we sat on. We said, "Oh yeah, these cards are definitely going to come back, right? They're definitely going to rebound back. I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to keep my price up, and then we sell it at a lower price anyways." So I think two choices that we have now is just sell it at what the comps are now, what people are willing to pay, or just take it out of the case and you know go from your showcases to your PC, right? And maybe there'll be a better time to sell this card at a later date. But it's the same as last year, right? Foot traffic at shows are very good. Everyone is really hammering for below current comp deals. No different than it was last year to this year. One dealer I know, and somebody I spoke to a few weeks ago, and I was kind of razzing him a little bit, because he shows up at a show with very little inventory. He shows up, he puts his case down, he has his backpack, and he just runs off, and he just shops the room before the doors open so he could fill his case. But then I realized it's kind of genius, right? I mean, his comps aren't going to go down from the morning to the afternoon or the evening, right? That day. So if he's out there, if he can buy something, he can negotiate it at 70 or 75% comps before the doors open, and then put it in his case at 100% and hope for 80 or 85. He's still making money on the day, right? And he's not sitting on inventory for long periods of time. I don't think there's a lot of profit in that, but I think it's more about being in the room and giving you buying opportunities, because I think at the end of the day, for someone like him and a lot of people I know, it just turns into buying opportunities. Really, they're setting up and they want to have things to sell or maybe to trade out of, but it's more about buying opportunities, more about buying the cards at a show versus selling it. A lot of people, a lot of those singles now are very popular. They've been popular for a while. People just buying raw, looking to grade. My man Jordan at Zips Cards, he does very well with that. I mean, and that is his thing. That is his thing. I spent some time with him a few weeks ago. We did some shows, and I mean, I just watched him in action, and he's showing me the cards he's pulling out of boxes or raws out of people's cases, and what he pays versus if they grade very well. I mean, so he does very well with that. I would be a little nervous. I'd be a little nervous with that the grades don't come back right, or you know something on the card that I missed when I bought it, and then realized that it's not going to grade well at all. Those are the things that kind of I like to be able to. A lot of the cards I buy, and I'll say this, a lot of the cards I buy, or I bought up until this point, when I'm buying cards, they've been graded, just because it's very easy for me to be very black and white on like, I know what it's graded. It's a 10 already, right? And this is the price on it. And where do I think the price is going to go? Does it make sense for me to buy that card now, hold it for 3, 4, 5, 6 months? And is that price going to bounce back up again? There's no guarantee on that, but up to this point, I've done very well on that. But now that I'm seeing what he's doing and what other people are doing on these raws, and I mean, I've been doing this with hockey too. I have an order that's going to be back here tomorrow, be arriving tomorrow from hockey, and I'm very excited how many PSA 10s I'm getting on these hockey cards. So, and I look at the margins. What did I pay for the card? What it cost me to grade? And yeah, so it's almost a home run for a lot of these hockey cards for me. Um, if I could do that with other cards, that may be, the home run as well. I just need to be able to look at these cards uh, and make sure that they are grading worthy. One big difference this year is at the shows is the repackers, right? Buying in bulk. And I heard Cblez talking about them not being good for shows. I could tell you as a dealer, right? I welcome them to come buy from me at 85, 90%. Yes, please. Right? I mean, that's what I'm selling to other people in the room for. Even like, sometime like if we come to an agreement on that percentage of comps and they're buying a number of cards, I mean, I'm making more money there than I am selling some other cards when people are really trying to hammer it down to, or I want to pay 79 or I want to pay 81% or something like that. So if we agree on a percentage comps and it's, I'm yes, please. I'm happy to do that all day long. And if I've done my job well, it works out perfectly for me. And when I say I've done my job well, I need to buy well, right? I need to be into these cards well. Um, everybody hobby's different. Everybody, especially dealers, we all do different things. I talk about what I do, and there's other people that listen and say, "Oh, they send comments in, oh, if I spend a few hours, but I change your mind on this, that, and another thing." Probably right, but I always feel with anything that I do in life is I need to take all the steps. Each step, I can't be jumping halfway up a flight of stairs to try to get up the stairs, right? Because it never works out. It never works out for me. So I'm okay with taking one step at a time, as long as it's making sense for me and I'm making some money and I'm happy doing what I'm doing, um, and I'm enjoying myself. I don't mind doing that. I don't need to go out, you know, and I don't know why I'm using all these baseball sayings today, but I don't need to hit a home run on everything, right? Singles and doubles are, like, especially if you have like for me, I have a business, right? You can't go out swinging for the fences all the time. It's the singles and doubles that pay the bills and put the money in your pocket. So those triples and home runs that come around, well, yeah, we love those. We love those. But it's not going to happen every single time. So, basing everything that you do, like, it's okay to swing for the fences on certain things, right? Absolutely okay, but not every single time. So for me, I like to take those steps, one step at a time, up and up. And next year I may be saying something different. Next year I may be saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be, buying, this in this season to sell, for the next season. I may be doing something completely different next year. I may sit and talk to somebody and they may say, "Oh, this is what I do, or this is what maybe you should be doing." Now, I'm not going to do exactly what somebody else does, but I will take it and fit it for me, right? Make it so it's going to work for me. Um, Singles and doubles, right? Really get the job done. Triples and home runs, we love them, but we can't do it on everything, And if you can, man, that is awesome. If there's somebody out there that can hit home runs on every single, flip of a card, man, that's awesome. But um, and I guess it would take a lot of years of experience and really, knowing what you're doing to get that. Last year at this time, I was making a list of quarterbacks, football quarterbacks to buy under comps, and hold till late spring, early summer to the national. Um, and that worked out really well for me. It really worked out well for me. This year, I feel the state of the NFL, like the quarterback situation with all these injuries and all these quarterbacks out, and a lot of backup quarterbacks playing. Um, there are probably only 2 quarterbacks, and I've talked about this, that I'm really comfortable buying right now, would be Mahomes and Hurts. Right? I think these are 2 guys that, and who knows, I'm saying right now that you're not gonna lose money on, and I think probably most of the hobby would agree with me. Uh, and when I talk about singles and doubles, right, these are safe. These are, Mahomes and Hurts, these are safe guys to buy, and I understand that. Uh, I hate to say it, but watching this year's rookie class, I mean, we can all see there's a couple decent guys to prospect this year. I did really well last year with Desmond Ritter, and I did as well as I did because he sat on the bench most of the year, right? So buying him early while he's sitting on the bench and was able to prospect him out, and sell out of those cards, before the season ever started this year. And I know there was a number of people I was messaging with, throughout the year on the Ritter cards, and they were all excited, like we're a little group. And at the end, I said, I really need. I talked about it on the podcast. I need to move these cards. I can't have these cards come August because the year before I learned what the Mac Jones and Zach Wilson. I just didn't want to get stuck with those cards again. But there's some guys out there now, like C.J. Stroud. He's balling out. Richardson, he looked really great before he got hurt. And let's face it, this hobby, everybody needs to prospect. We always need somebody to chase, right? So, I think some of these rookie quarterbacks this year, I think that is going to be the play moving into next year. Even Sam Howell, like I know he's done very well. Uh, he may be a guy that may get a boost, but I think he would have to get an awful lot, whether it's the team, the market, whatever it is, I think he'd have to do an awful lot to get a boost. Like some of these younger guys are going to be boosted. I'm telling you right now, come June next year, I can see these Stroud and these Richardson cards, really selling. Being a really hot market. So these are some of the guys I'm going to be looking to, grab their cards, get as many of these rookie cards, probably try to grade a bunch of these cards, buy these cards. Um, if it is the right decision, right? If I've made the right decision, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And if it isn't, it's prospecting that failed. Uh, and it happens with quarterbacks every year. I mentioned Mac Jones already. You remember the year Mac Jones was, a really big deal, and Trey Lance is another one, was a big deal. Everybody, we need these cards were selling at, and Zach Wilson, these cards were selling at, massive amounts. And now, whoever, it's like hot potato, whoever got stuck with them at the end, you just got stuck with them. And I think Desmond Ritter cards were the same way too. This year, I mean, where he ended up now, what's happened to him this season. So, strong hands. I talked about it last year, just buying these cards, have strong hands, uh, hold them to the right time and move them. Don't start getting nervous and unload. If you're going in for someone like me, if I'm going in, if I'm saying I'm going in on a guy like Richardson or Stroud, then you got to go in. You can, go in and do the best you can with it, and hope for the best, right? Um, it's probably definitely a good time right now to buy Joe Burrow too. Now that he's done for the season, his cards are down. If you can find them, I have a pretty big Joe Burrow card that I've taken out of my case. I'm not going to put it out there. I'm just going to hold that till next year. But if you can go out and find his cards and get them at the current comps, it may be a good move. I mean, I've heard lots of people, and I'm sure everyone's heard it. The year he was done for the season. The next year he came back and went to the Super Bowl, right? So people are already saying that, oh, he's out for the rest of the year. Next year, Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. So, you know, he may be a guy you might want to try to capitalize on. Um, but for now, I'm sticking with buying at least 4 months out on cards. It was a plan I put together last year. It worked out so well for me that I'm sticking to it, and I'm going to try to fine tune it just a little bit. Um, I talked about my hockey order. Like I did have a lot of hockey that I moved at the Gillette show, and I've been watching this PSA order and finally popped. They're being shipped. They're coming tomorrow. So my next show, I'm hoping that it's not too late that I can move these cards. At my next show when I set up next month. Um, I'm getting ready now to send out a huge baseball order for grading. That should be ready in the spring, right? And some pop culture as well. So remember last year, I had a little baseball, but I did a lot of pop culture last year. So this year, some of the 2020 and the 2021, the Bowman, the mega boxes and the chromes that I bought and pulled, like these guys are starting to play well. Some of these guys have popped. So a lot of these cards I'm going to send out now for grading. Um, and try to have them again, same thing, have them moved by the spring training. Have those cards. And the pop culture, that pop culture is evergreen, right? I move You can move pop culture all year round. I did so well last year at Chantilly with the pop culture that I'll be doing that show again this year with my guy Tom, and hoping that I can move that there because it just did so well last year. Certain places I set up, Chantilly was one, and Fenway Park was the other one that I did really well with the pop culture stuff. So, uh, get it ready, know the show, right? I've always talked about know the show. Um, so a year later, and things feel almost the same, right? The hobby patterns feel the same. And for me right now, it feels just like rinse and repeat as a dealer when planning ahead for 2024. Just rinse and repeat. What I did last year worked well for me. I'm going to fine tune it this year and try to do the same thing. I, I'm also planning on spreading my wings a little more in 2024. And I say that I've said that last year and I said that the year before. I say next year I want to get to a few new shows, and last year I hit some new shows, and this year I'm doing the same thing again. I've already booked I booked a table and a trip to Culture Collision in Atlanta. That's at the end of January, and I'm doing that with Craig and Carmine from Crosstown Cardboard. We've got a table down there, so we're going to go down there. We're going to meet up down there, and we're going to hit that show. Looking forward to it. And besides that show, and all the shows that I'm currently do, or that I same ones I've done last year that I'll do again next year. I'd like to find at least one more to travel to. Not sure, what where it's going to be right now. Could be Dallas, could be Chicago, could be out to California. I'm not sure. Just would like to hit. Even I know there's a show. There's a decent show in Tennessee, the Nashville show. So one of them, I'd like to be able to hit and go to one of these another one of these shows, and just travel to. Um, I enjoy getting out. I enjoy meeting new people. I talk to so many people, with doing this, doing the podcast, message with so many people. And it's so great when I finally get to travel somewhere else and meet some of these people in person. But whatever I'm going to do, I will keep you updated on that. I talked last year, going to the Toronto Expo was a big deal for me last year. And this year I thought, oh, I've got all this hockey, whatever I have left, I'll do it again this year. But I did so well at the Gillette show. It's one of those things that I could book that show at the last minute if I wanted to, but I may not need to do that this year. I may have moved all my hockey. I could move on to a different show. But definitely we'll keep you updated on that. That's all I have today. I will be back Monday with a brand new episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe. And most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.